There's a wonder drug coming out of Hollywood. And the reason I wanted to cover this first is because yesterday we talked about Bryce Dallas Howard, and we talked about her being asked to lose weight for like a Jurassic World Dominion. And people had a problem with that. They weren't a fan of that, but
because people are a fan of Bryce Dallas Howard's huge ass.
God bless it. I say, God bless it. So it says, is that blasphemous? Should I not say that?
No.
I didn't think of it that way.
Okay,
sounded
perfect.
good to me.
All right, so it says Hollywood's secret new weight loss drug revealed. The hype and hazards of, how do you pronounce this? Ozempic? Sounds right to me.
Semaglutide.
Hell yeah.
Is
we'll go with
the actual name of the drug. It's an injection, and it's for pre-diabetic people, made by Novo Nordisk.
A Danish company.
A Danish pharma company.
There's some very interesting parts in here that prove to you just how different their lives are than the lives we will ever lead.
This reminds me actually of a rare but extremely deadly eating disorder where people who have type 1 diabetes will not inject insulin so that they don't metabolize the sugar they eat, and they will end up losing way too much weight.
Yeah.
And then it like can kill you extremely quickly. It sounds similar to this, but they are like artificially
doing it on their own.
Yeah, subduing the secretion of insulin in their bodies so that they're able to be satiated by food for a much longer time.
So it says one top power broker told Variety that half of her call sheet last week was full of friends and clients wanting to discuss the risks of Ozempic, which has claimed devotees from every corner of the industry. Moguls, reality stars, veteran film producers, and of course, actors are quietly singing the drug's praises on Signal. So they're in their own chats and their own groups.
It's funny how they hate Telegram, but they use Signal. And they hate horse paste, but they love Ozempic.
Funny how that works, right? The virtue signaling never ends. The encrypted messaging app mostly used for confidential conversations, hair, makeup, and styling teams for celebrities have come to accept the injections as part of the grooming rituals ahead of major events. These are the people that are telling you how to raise your family, that are telling you what to do with your life, that are telling you the traits that you have that are either inherently good or bad, that are
telling you are medically vicious
for not wearing a mask out in public by yourself, and they're over here like, can I get some of that Ozempic,
They
man?
sure are fans of alternative medicine when it artificially cosmetically benefits them.
And it also talks, it brings to mind the fact that they talk a lot about representation and beauty in Hollywood and body sizes of all bodies of all sizes.
Body positivity and body positive activism and even body neutrality movements, whatever, they have always been run by usually skinny women who don't want competition. Yep. They are like promoting the idea that everyone is beautiful, but then spend 5 hours a day on a Peloton.
Plus, they understand that they can preach that all they want. The executives are going to have a different set of rules for what they actually want in their movies.
And that reminds me of the part of Charlize Theron's interview that we're about to talk about, where she's lining up a bunch of supplemental juices and like green drinks that she has to drink to follow the orders of directors who need her to look a certain way.
The funny, I didn't even get that far before her article annoyed me. It's the part about the wardrobe that really bothered me. Okay.
Yeah.
You're an actor, right? I'm going to get off topic here for just a second. You're an actor. You're hired to read lines, to give a performance. There are a bunch of other departments, right? You've got your hair and makeup. You've got your wardrobe department. You've got directors. You've got editors. She says right here, one thing that it really annoyed her was... So she says
really annoyed her.
Was one of her biggest pet peeves was when she was starting out as a professional actor was men controlling what she wore on screen. Having absolutely no control over what you're wearing is a big one that really effing annoyed me for years. It is not your job to decide what you wear on screen. The filmmaking process is incredibly in-depth detailed and collaborative to the point where there are plenty of shows, right? Here's a surface level example from a very basic show. The CSIs, right? They would do color, like CSI Miami would do color palettes for their actors, meaning that the members of the main cast wore a certain color palette for that episode, and it was supposed to be a visual cue to know who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. It is not your job as an actor to decide what you wear on set. It is the job of a different department who's likely making a hell of a lot less money than you.
Yeah, that's for cohesion. You have an artistic
director. It's visually important.
It seems to suggest that costume designers are in an all-male department in studios, and that's just not true. And it also doesn't get to the heart of what she really wanted to complain about, which was like predatory or sleazy behavior from male directors.
Yeah.
She said, having some guy make you have a fitting almost in front of them, stuff like that is really belittling. When I started, there was no conversation around it. It was like, this is what you're wearing. And I remember one movie in particular, this male director who just kept bringing me in, fitting after fitting after fitting after. And it was just so obvious that it was to do with my sexuality and how effable they could make me in the movie. And when I started out, that was just kind of the norm.
There's no return to middle ground in power here. They will now have all the power because they can make this complaint anytime and provide no proof.
Why is it a problem? I mean, effable is sort of a... I mean, that's not an accurate way to phrase it. You're supposed to look attractive, yes, visually attractive on screen to any audience, not just sexually, but like aesthetically. You are part of someone else's artistic work.
Well, I mentioned
you need to look how they want you to look. And if you can collaborate on how you dress in a certain project, then that's fortunate, but it's not something that she would be entitled to.
No. Well, remember we were talking about Ariel and
yes,
and Halle Bailey, and she's like, I was really glad that they said, what can we put of me in this character? Your job is not to be you in the character. Your job is to be the character. Otherwise, It's just an exercise in narcissism.
So we've gone from one extreme, it seems, to the other, where you don't have the choice not to incorporate your personal identity and your style into the character you're playing. It was something that was proposed to Halle Bailey by the director of The Little Mermaid, not the other way around.
Yeah.
They were the ones that introduced the idea of incorporating her real self into her character, incorporating her dreadlocks into her red hair. I don't think that was originally her idea.
Fighting back against Hollywood's urge to sexualize women has been a consistent theme of Theron's career. There are plenty of women that have no problem being attractive on screen. The term sexualize in itself is inherently loaded. It's a loaded term. It's part of the job to be attractive on camera, and the idea that you can remove it is impossible.
Yeah, but I know she's talking about having a dude bring her in and have her try on a bunch of different outfits, and then he's like, why don't you turn around? Why don't you try these shorts on? And it's like, dude,
well, that's behind the scenes.
This is how it goes in
That's
Hollywood.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What it sounds like here.
I don't doubt that sleazy behavior like that happens, and that is a problem. And if she wants to talk about it, then talk about it. I applaud her for that. But it seems that she's painting it with a broad brush that she deserves creative control over how her characters look.
It's a good point, because if you're going to take that big paycheck, I mean, that's part of that industry. For better or worse, I don't know if you can change it. This is Bryce Howard saying this stuff?
No, this is Charlize Theron.
Charlize. I don't know if you can change it. I mean, it's good to speak up against it. I had to leave the industry. I felt like it was up against a monolith trying to pull sex out of that, because it's like, it's a visual art, and they want to sell tickets to young men, and they will in any way they can to make profit, because the market don't care about your feelings for the most part.
Well, fun fact, women want to see hot women too. Men do not. Men want to see hot women.
Aspirational content.
Men want to see hot women. Women want to see hot women. Women want to see hot men. Men want to see men that are of great stature and do great things on screen, which just happen to be good-looking dudes, right? People just want to see attractive people on screen.
Rich, famous, attractive people.
Yes, unfortunately, that's the
how
way
it
of
is.
the world.
Yeah, that's human psychology. I mean, sometimes though, to what you were saying, Ian, going for just sexual appeal in entertainment doesn't even end up driving profits. So like we sometimes mention Jennifer's Body and how terribly that movie was marketed with Megan Fox, because it was 2009 and it was Megan Fox, and they thought, let's market this to young men who want to see Megan Fox being hot.
Yeah.
When that movie actually was more for a female audience.
Yep.
They mismarketed it to the point where they lost out on so much money. So it's like, and then we were also recently talking about House of the Dragon and the amount of like sexual deviancy and incest that they show in that series, and how their viewership is consistently dropping, and it's not anywhere near what Game of Thrones had.
Still higher than Lord of the Rings, from what I understand. Still beating Lord of the Rings.
We can't solely say that's about the sexual content.
And to be
but
fair,
I'm saying,
that
like,
stuff is in the books.
Sexual content does not automatically guarantee you profit.
Yeah. And I want to go back to the drug story. So this is just what I'm talking about, the hypocrisy of all of it, right? These are the people that virtue signal and tell you how to live your life and tell you to accept everyone the way they are and want to make themselves out to be the everyman when they clearly hate the everyman. They hate flyover states.
It's not even the everyman. Like, they want to be at the pulpit of our society.
So, yeah.
And they make no... like they don't care about how that appears to the mainstream audience.
Who are you saying? Who's they?
Hollywood.
So it says $1,200 to $1,500 a month if you want to go out and buy just one pen of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And this is
semaglutide,
causing a shortage of the medication for the pre-diabetic patients who need it.
Because
so this
it's making their butts smaller, or it's making them lose fat. Is that what
they're losing weight? Yeah,
and it's only been proven to reduce it by like 15% of body mass.
And it's basically stopping them from eating.
Yeah, it just satiates them for longer. But
dude,
this
just
is
suffering fast, bro. What are you doing?
Well, they literally have nutritionists and stylists and every staff in the book that could help them look how they want to look, but they're instead going this route of alternative medicine that the long-term effects are not known. This has only been studied for like 2 years.
Same thing happens every time some like flabby actor gets cast as a superhero, and then he makes the miraculous 6 month transition, and he's just absolutely shredded, and you're like,
Hollywood has their ways.
Yes. Well, in 6 months to get to that's not done
natty.
Naturally.
Not natty.
There's HGH. There's all sorts of things that are being done, and because they have the ability to do so, and they have to do so on
CGI.
I don't even really care if they do that. I just care that they don't tell me that I have to live a certain way.
Are they CGIing?
No,
pecs and stuff?
I don't think they do that as much anymore. Okay, here's a really funny thing. There's a when he was in Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage said he would never again work out and get a 6-pack for a role because he got one for doing Ghost Rider, and people said it was CGI'd, and he was so offended by that. He's like, I'm never doing that again.
But didn't they CGI Natalie Portman?
Yes, her arms definitely had CGI to them. But like the men are just kind of expected to. They would talk about how like when they were filming like Captain America, Civil War, like basically they would work out extensively. They would get their dates ahead of time as to like where the scenes would be. Where they'd either be shirtless or need to look their best, and they would work out heavily up until that day, like right up until they shot those
dehydrate.
scenes. Yeah, and then when it's done, they go and they kind of take some time off, and they're like, oh my god,
carb load.
Or Ben Affleck when he was Batman, take that, Dane. You can see there's vast differences in his size when they did reshoots for Justice League, because by the time they did the reshoots, he had shrunk down to his more normal shape and size, because they're aspirational and they work out to get to that size, but then you can't maintain that forever, especially as you get older. And it's not like they can only work out. They've got other things they have to do in their life. There's plenty of people that have absolutely amazing physiques, but that's their career, right? They work in the nutrition industry, stuff like that. So it's just fascinating to me that they want to lecture you. They want to tell you how to live your life, and they're looking for any pharmaceutical means they can to get an edge.
Even the alternative to Ozempic called Wegovy, I believe.
Yeah.
They are they're making that scarce too for patients. Like, it's all at the expense of ordinary people. And like, it just shows the recklessness and, I mean, the fact that it's such a poorly kept secret shows that they really don't care about how they look anymore, except for how their physicality. Like, we see that Hollywood has the least body positive or body neutral culture, and
Unless
yet
they're virtue signaling about it.
and yet they want to preach from the pulpit to the masses about how they should feel about their body image.
Do you guys feel that do you feel like there's an inherent sort of maliciousness to the body positive movement? Like, I've heard plenty of people think that it's like it's designed to, like,
it's such a psyop.
Like, they think that they're doing it so that people will, like, it's like natural selection. They just want people to not be healthy so that they either die younger or, like,
the body positive movement comes from the green juice drinking, Ozempic injecting, Peloton using class.
There's nothing wrong with Peloton. I got a friend.
No, there's nothing wrong with any of that, and fitness and caring about how you look. But you can't enjoy those things, that luxury, and then tell other people that they shouldn't care.
There's that toxic compassion. We had a guest on IRL at one point talking about that.
That's absolutely, that's a big part of how our culture got to the point it's at. I was watching a video earlier. It might have been a Joey B. Toons video where it's like a dude, he's like at work, he's wearing like a wolf mask and he's like jumping up and down. And it's like, this is a culture of people who never told this person, you need help. I'm sorry. And the problem is they can articulate
no reality checks.
They can articulate why they're like that, and they sound coherent. So you mistake coherency for sanity, and you just leave them be, when what you should be saying is, look, you need help. I'm not judging you. I don't think any less of you, but I want you to be able to live an existence that's full and helps you reach your full potential, and not to have you acting in a way that's so far outside the realms of where society is that you're an aberration to the point where people are making videos about you.
I guess it's tough to help other people because you can really only help yourself. And it takes a lot of energy to try and help one person.
That's the thing. But our culture used to be one that would kind of do that through not public shaming, but there was an accepted level of culture, and then it just kind of, we gave in. And I'm probably more than a lot of people here fall into the, like, look, do it as long as you're not hurting someone else. I don't really care what you do. But there is an inclination in me to be like, maybe I should be helping these people, but I'm also not, I'm not one to force my views or beliefs on other people. But I do worry that they're not well, and that they're not going to be able to live the life that they could if they got help. But is it my place to do that?
There are spheres of care and spheres of influence that you have to parse out. If you can definitely care about someone's well-being, but if their life and their well-being is outside of your sphere of influence that you could ever possibly affect them, then for your own sanity, you have to let it go, essentially.
And that's like one of the easy ways for people to be really, like, who get away with jerkish behavior, and it's a lot of people use that as an excuse, is where they'll leave like really like awful comments to people like that, and they say, I'm just trying to
just care about their health.
I just care. I just want them to get a reality check. No, you don't. You just want to be a dick. Because if you actually wanted to help them, it would be a longer process, and you'd have to be more involved. But that's not what you really want. So
if I want someone to be healthy, I think the best thing I could do is get healthy. And then be public about it.
Be an example.
Yeah. And hope that they see it. I can't, like, shove it down their throat. You know, I can only kind of walk around and do it.
We as a culture tend to reject things that are forced upon us. Look at what happened in 2020. like, wear the mask. No, I'm not wearing the mask. Take this. I'm not taking this. Do this. I'm not doing this.
Ian, when you were acting, did you feel or just outright receive pressure to change how you look? For roles?
No, I never got to that point, but I never got that far down the path. I was doing a lot of commercials. Well, not a lot. I did like 3. I think I booked 3 commercials. I was auditioning for a lot. I did a TV show, Aliens in America. I did the pilot for that on CW Network. But small roles. And when I got a manager at one point, and they were like, "You're just so sexual. I'm going to sell your sex." And I thought I could see that coming. Like, get ready for the injections. Get ready for the,
Get ready for your Ozempic.
The long fasts and dehydration sessions to get my cut body so that they can take my shirt off. Because I would go in all skanky, like all like gangly and pale, and like I wasn't booking roles as a result. So that was a sort of, but they never overtly said like, "Yo, if you look like that, you're not going to get the role." But they were thinking it. I could tell they were thinking
Tom Cruise did an interview in like the early 90s where he said the best thing you can do as an actor is to get into good shape.
For sure. I would be so much better of an actor than the people I was up against, but they would have ripped bodies and they'd get booked.
Yeah. Well, they pointed out, because they would point out like look at like original Ghostbusters, and you look at like Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray. That was a movie star in the 80s. Like, these kind of
I thought I'd be
dads,
like, my personality is gonna get me there, dude. That's an uphill battle if you think that way. Go in beautiful, and then your personality can take you the rest of the way.
That's true of men and women.
And you might get it with your personality, but it is very, very low chance in Hollywood.
To be fair, that a lot of the articles are about like people saying women have to have these expectations about how they're supposed to look. Those expectations are on men as well, but they're also like not.
Definitely not nearly as rigid, I would say.
And not in theater, because I came from a theater background. No one really cared what your body looked like in theater. If you did take your shirt off, it would be they'd see you like 100 feet away, so they couldn't really get a look at how cut your gut was. And it was all personality mostly, and it was totally inverted in Hollywood.
And if you're an actor on the CW, you're expected to be extremely handsome or extremely beautiful. That's just the way that network works. So.
Yeah. Before we move on, I want to read this last part of the Variety article. They said, like any miracle weight loss drug, there's skepticism about long-term use. In addition to a leaner figure, a notable side effect is gastrointestinal phenomena: bloating, constipation, diarrhea.
Yum.
When asked about this unpleasant risk, one talent publicist put it bluntly: "Who cares? Everyone who works in this business has IBS anyway."
Oh, gross.
So that kind of, lends credence to Kanye's fake news, but still funny post about how Kim Kardashian has just an abnormal amount of diarrhea. Like, not anywhere near what a normal person would have.
I also want to point out, it's not like diet pills weren't a thing in Hollywood before. It's not like they haven't had...
They've always had these interventions,
yeah. So.
And plastic surgery has been around for much longer than people realize too.
It's also weird to me, like how 90% of the articles we ignore, it's like so and so looked hot on the red carpet, and it's like they like to push both. Like you're inherently supposed to not push sexuality, but also we totally push sexuality.
Yes.
One of my biggest pet peeves is women talking about, I didn't want men telling me how to dress this way, and then or they're pushing like androgynous looks in their movies, but then whenever you see them in the red carpet, they're as feminine can be, proving that they don't.
Not always, but yeah, a lot of the time.
Not for every Elliot Page, there's a better example of an Olivia Wilde. That's not the best example.
Of
but
a Taylor Swift,
that when they get on the red carpet, they're back to looking exactly like people expect a beautiful woman to look. But when they're making their movies that are part of public consciousness that they're using to sway the opinion of the public, they're pushing a completely different look than what they actually put forth.
Yeah.
That bothers me. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.